We are on the Country versus Metal podcast with Casper and McWade. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Finally.
That's good. That's good to hear. That's the rescheduling. And I just noticed, like, I say the same intro all the time, and we're talking about being a creature of habit. I should probably change it up a little bit. But yeah, we're back. And we got to talk for like 30 minutes before, and it actually a little blessing in disguise. We're close to a release of the new Curse of the Reaver.
Yeah, I can't wait to drop that, man. Long awaited. Some of these songs I wrote 20 years ago. Some of them are new, but some of the stuff it's a lot of it's very much rock and roll. Some of it's pushing the boundaries of punk rock, and some of it's got like an 80s kind of a thing feel to it, and some flashy guitar stuff here and there, not just a ton, but a little bit, pretty fun stuff though. I'm excited to share it.
Dude, and you're right about the album cover.
Yeah.
I saw you posted that on, and it's on your webpage, CasperMcWade.com. I was like, that's exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's sexy, man. He did a great job, Isaac Denton. He's a beast. He's a beast. Yeah, him and Tony Moore from The Walking Dead, the guy that created Walking Dead, was in on that record and in on that art as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. I used to buy strictly for album art if I had a couple extra bucks, and that is one that I would be like, okay, we got something here.
Right. Yeah, and that was one of the things I was like, when I may only ever do one rock record, and I was like, it's got to be legit, So I was like, I got a hold of Isaac because his artwork is amazing, and my biggest deal with it, with just about anything I do, is there will be no trace of AI on my shit ever. And that thing he drew it by hand, painted it with watercolor and all kind. I mean, it's he did it all, right there. Showed me every step of it, and it was pretty awesome. So yeah, I can't wait to. I got to go meet him somewhere around. I think somewhere around Memphis, so I can get the original artwork and frame it and get it on the wall.
Oh, nice. Is it big?
It's big. Yeah, it's like wow. It's probably 3x3 or something. It's pretty big.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and it's 1 out of 1. It's
1 out of 1. there'll never be another like it. So.
And that's that just became like the family heirloom.
Oh yeah, His there's a really cool story, and he's told it, so I don't mind telling it. It was the last piece that he did with his mother. There, she passed away here recently, and she absolutely loved the zombie guy on the front. And so she called him Mad Dog for whatever reason. So that's his name, Mad Dog McWade. And so, yeah, it's pretty awesome. If you look in there, there's a bunch of, if you zoom in on the artwork, the more you zoom in, the more detail you see. It's so crazy. Some of the stuff in there, like the zombies falling off the cliff in the background, most people don't even see that till they zoom in real big. But if you zoom in, you'll see all these little Easter eggs. Like one of the rum barrels doesn't say rum, it says mom. And she told him that she's like, he's not scary. I feel like he's a protector. Like he's protecting me. He's watching over me. And I was like, dude, it gave me chills when he told me that. I was like, dude, that's so amazing. Nobody wants to hear that anybody's lost anyone, but for that to be a big part of his last days with his mother, that means a lot to me. I'm a very sentimental guy. And so, it's just the icing on the cake. That she loved the art, and he got to do that with her there. So.
Yeah, that's a really cool. That's a really cool detail, and it's cool to hear a story about album art, and it goes deeper than just what you would perceive of just like an artist.
And most people, nowadays, AI is such a thing for. I mean, they'll just. I mean. Almost everybody I know is punched in, make me an album cover with this, and this. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on. Really? I mean, and, but at the same time, I get it. My son's band, they're po white trash from Oklahoma, like myself and the rest of us, they make fantastic music, but they ain't got no money to promote it. They ain't got no money for art and all that. I went above and beyond with the paying for the art that I wanted because, like I said, I may only do it one time ever. And but they've used a couple of AI things, and it looks pretty all right. It's it's appealing, but it's still in my personal opinion, it's cheating. You know, if you're going to put out art, make the whole thing art, not just the music.
Yeah, I definitely see like the both sides of the coin and
Yeah, but, I
everything.
mean, I get it. I mean, I'm not swimming in cash either. You know, so it kind of it's taken a long time to put this rock record out. It's taken years when it could have taken months, but I wanted it done right, 100% right. My favorite band in the world is a band called Face to Face out of Southern California. The guy playing lead guitar on my record is the lead guitar player for Face to Face, Dennis Hill, and he's changed everything about these songs in such a good way. And we got back the mixes with his parts on it. We just sat there and just looked at each other like, oh shit, what just happened? This is amazing. And but he's like a punk rock staple. You know, since the early '90s, Face to Face has been Southern California punk rock. And so I said, man, I don't want it to be a punk album, but I want it to have that flair. And he fucking nailed it, man. Just nailed it. I can't wait for you. I've been just itching to just start releasing everything because I just want everybody to hear it. And I'm like, dog, no, I'm slapping myself on the hand. You can't do that. Stop it. There's a certain reason you don't do that.
Right.
But,
I have heard Opulence.
Yeah.
In the entirety.
I got to send that one over to you guys. Which that one's me and another guy wrote that song years ago. He and I had a falling out here a while back over a disagreement on how things go, and I had got a little bit of notoriety doing some stuff with Jinx and whatnot, and I guess he felt like he was left behind or something. And I'm like, dude, it's not my job to build your career, And so, but anyway, that neither here nor there. The man is a fantastic songwriter, and we've written quite a few things together, and Opulence was one of the early ones that we wrote together, and so I mean, I'm expecting a little bit of this from his friends over here, because my friends are over here, and you're stealing his stuff. I was like, except for I wrote half of it, so no, I ain't stealing anything. Matter of fact, most men would be happy that somebody's cutting anything they had a part of. So,
right, and
that's my thought on it. But it's a great song, and he's the one that brought the idea to me. He had the first verse and the chorus, and I wrote that second verse and then just kind of moved some things around, and we made it what it is today. And I almost didn't record it because he and I haven't been friendly in a while. But it's a shame. It really is. But it's too good a song not to share. And so I hope it takes off, and I hope he makes $1 million. And I hope that makes him happier.
Right? Yeah, when he gets the quarter check.
Yeah. Hell, he can have all of it. I don't care. I just that song had to be shared, and so well, you've got to hear it. So it's kind of an anthem-y kind of a thing.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds good. The recording sounds great, but in my head, I'm like, live, this is going to crush, especially right now with the environment and with the songs.
Yeah,
and I could see, like, I know if I was released, I would try to get my followers to, like, put gas in their car, middle finger up, using that song as the background, and I think that would catch on because it definitely catches the climate right now of just like right before getting on, I was trying to do, I was doing my taxes. I'm like sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh my God.
That's my wife's job. She picked up this year as she learned how to do taxes. She works for Jackson Hewitt doing taxes, and she gets so angry at the company, but then because she's like, why does it cost this much to do this? And and I was like, well, do it yourself. And she's like, yeah, I had to learn. I was like, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the tax professional to do this, so you don't have to. And I was like, I don't any of those companies, H&R Block, all of them. I think they're all dipping a little bit deeper than they probably need to, but that's also the mart of commerce. You're not doing it to go broke. You're doing it to make money.
Definitely.
Any business.
Right. Yeah. Capitalism.
Well, yeah. I'm not mad at it. I just want some of it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just a piece. But it's funny is that the person that put me onto your music first, just out of the blue, texted me about you, and he's like, "Hey, you may not know this, but Casper sounds awesome when he sings rock and roll. And I was like, I don't know if you've heard the song because I don't really tell anybody like the behind the scenes things. And I was like, man, that's really, really ironic that it just happened to be because I don't know if I released, we were redoing a podcast and everything. I was like, yeah, it's, and then once you hear that, once you hear like Opulence and you go back and you listen to your other songs, a lot of your songs are really close to being rock and roll.
Oh yeah.
Just a little differences. If
Yeah.
there was a little, like a drop tune guitar in a couple songs, and like a Tattoo on My Mind, that intro, that's like a punk rock, like rock.
Oh yeah.
That guitar, I love that intro, and it goes out throughout the song. I was like, man, you put some like, a little bit more gain on those guitars and whatnot, and
Just grit it up a little bit, and it's rock and roll, really.
yeah. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's
And I think people, when they listen to it, especially like if that's like the first thing they hear of yours and they go back, I think that would help someone that really likes that and just goes, oh man, this you can just hear your older music different after hearing that, with especially your voice, and like it was really cool to listen to. I was like,
there's only been a few people. I mean, back in the day, of course, with the folks that would come out and watch us, they knew. But I mean, most of the people that are into my country stuff have never heard any of my rock stuff and never heard me do it. But I've showed it to one or two people, and they're like, "That's not you. They don't sound like you at all." And I was like, and after a little while, they're like, "You know what? No, yeah, that sounds. I can hear it now. I can hear everything. It's all." I was like, "Yeah, that's man. Punk rock and country music are the same thing. When I write it, especially, it's all about a girl. It's all about a heartbreak, and the shit that's going on in the world. It's just all about the delivery." So I can throw it out there with a little twangy guitar and sing it slow, and it's one thing, and then I can sing it with a Mike Ness Les Paul cranked to 11, blowing the fucking ears out of everybody, and still be saying the same fucking thing.
Definitely. And what a great example of that, of hearing the difference and the similarities all at the same time, but like 100% when Steve sent me the track. Had he not said who it was, I'd have been like, man, who's this? And then the more you listen to it and you hear it, you're like, okay, yeah. And it's a really cool, it's like a dynamic, but there's also like, with the three circles, there's a lot in that middle circle.
Oh yeah.
Of just little differences, like with the drums. There's, more footwork.
The drum beat is fantastic. That's what makes that whole thing. But we used to play it straightforward, and it was just But I was playing the guitar choppy like that, and he was just playing just straight in. And then one day, I dare to say that John Jameson and Son might have been involved, And so I was sitting there having a sip or two, and I was sitting there playing that and just really getting into it, cranked it up real hard, and he's like, "Hey man, hold on a second," and I stopped, and he's like, "What if I play it like this?" And he played that beat, and I played along with it, and I was like, "Dude, you just turned this from a decent song to a fan-fucking-tastic song." And then Dennis Hill got a hold of it, and that's all that pretty guitar you hear in that, which is, it's weird for be pretty guitar like that in a punk rock song, but I'm like, I'm for it, man. I'm 100% for it. It turned out amazing.
I love guitar lines like that, and especially I'm a huge fan of like a Face to Face with the octaves.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked, especially when they're playing like low and they switch back and forth, sometimes meet. It just keeps it interesting, and
well, Dennis is the king of it, man. Between him and Trevor and Face to Face, it's a dance. It's beautiful to hear. That's why it's my favorite band. Is the melodies and the lyrical content. And Scott Shiflett's backing vocals. Everything's amazing. They've got the formula. They figured it out. Of course, you can't mimic it. It's kind of like they're a band, kind of like the Doors. You can't. There's never going to be anybody going to go out and sound just like them, because they're going to get pointed at and be like, I know what you're doing. Don't do it. Those other guys were great. Don't mess with them. remember Scott Stapp tried to do some Doors. Scott Stapp from whatever, the Arms Wide Open dude.
Yeah, Creed.
Yeah, and he tried to do the Doors with the band, and it was nobody liked it. As soon as I heard it, I was like, turn this shit off. No. Scott Stapp, wasn't my cup of tea. You can't mimic Jim Morrison. Nobody can.
Right.
That's kind of the same thing with Trevor Keith from Face to Face. You can't. Nobody's ever going to sound just like that. Not and do it well.
Yeah, I like those guys. It just the other day on Instagram, I think their management group messaged me as well. I was like, man, I wonder if that has anything to do. We did a podcast together.
Oh yeah, no, probably not. I haven't talked to Trevor in a little while, but he's got a new country album. It's country. And,
yeah, that's what they were referencing, and it was weird because I was just listening to them. I was on like a punk rock playlist, and I was like, no, and I wanted to like screenshot, like, no way, the odds, because normally it's just ads. When you say something, the ads come on, you're like, oh, they're listening, and it's like, well, that'd be cool if like bands were like, oh, I heard you were talking about my band. What's up? I'm the band. That'd be a lot cooler than, oh, you know what? I don't need that, but here, this is what you want. But yeah, also with the new album, we recently just did a podcast, and you told me the title, Curse of the Reaver, and I had not heard that word ever before.
Reaver?
Yeah. And you kind of gave me an explanation, and I typed it in Google and had no idea. It's deep, and it's really cool. Just reading like just the little bits of the Google search, and then you can just go into these stories. And I've seen the buildings that they used to live in, and I'm like, man, that's what those were, because I'd seen them in pictures, but I had no idea. And I was like the origin of blackmail is from the Reavers. I had no idea. I was like, dude, it was like such a cool rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, and my ancestors on my mother's side were all descended from border reavers and Scotland and all that, and so I got to reading on it once, and I just became enthralled. I kind of like you, I couldn't get my head out of it. I just kept going down to rabbit hole, and I was like finding out that some of these people that they're in my family tree, some of the things that they did back then, I was like, this is amazing. And it's always just kind of stuck in my head. And actually, add a little bit on there to the artwork. The Mad Dog McWade guy, the tartan he's wearing is my family tartan, Clan Little. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think it was just a nice little Easter egg to throw in there too. A lot of people would never have guessed that. Oh, I know what that tartan is. No, you don't.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a reaver was. Oh yeah. Speaking of Easter eggs, God, I'm terrible with track names. When you're talking Roman candles, birthday cakes, pinto beans, you laugh, right? Do you laugh at that? I was like, he's laughing.
Yeah. Josh Thompson was the producer on that. Josh, Jinx's band. He's done most of Jinx's last records. And I laughed on it. And I was like, let's retake that. And he listened to it 2 or 3 times. He's like, no, that stays. He's like, that's too organic. He said, it's perfect. Because my grandfather would eat mayonnaise in his pinto beans. Like, don't knock it till you try it, boy. Like, so
have you tried it?
when I threw that in there, I just kind of giggled because they all looked at me like I was, fuck you talking about mayonnaise and pinto beans? I was like, well, so I had to tell him the story after that. But yeah, he was absolutely not having retaken that. He's like, nope, that stays. I was like, all right, fair enough, man. You're the producer. You were hired for a reason.
I had never noticed it, and I wasn't even like, I wasn't like laser focused or anything. I was driving, and then I'm like, nah, I gotta go back. And it's so hard to go back. There are some things I miss about the old technology, Right. And it's like my thumb went like all the way back to the first verse, and then I'm listening. I'm like, they kept that in. That's how it's real music when you hear stuff like that, and you're like, You feel like you're in like a club because not a lot of people are going to catch stuff like that, and it's
Right. Yeah, well, you're the first one that's brought it up to me, other than my close personal friends and family.
really
Did you really just laugh at that? I'm like, well, yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, that one's called "Go Together." Yeah,
go together. God, gosh, I should know that. Go
yeah.
together. Mm-hmm. I man, the country has like the real cool like swing feel. I love your sense of rhythm in your music, and it definitely excited to hear like more like opulence and stuff with the heavier side of that how that goes because it definitely tracks. It still has like a unique sense of movement to the song.
Well, that and I don't think, personally, I don't think you're going to be able to take this record and listen to it and say that sounds like this or that sounds like that. And I'm proud of that. And I'm the same thing with my country stuff. I don't sound like everybody else, and that's by design. I don't want to sound like anybody else. It's like, hey, man, that one song kind of, if you did this or that, it'd sound a little bit more like Jinx. Well, Jinx already sounds like Jinx. I don't want to sound like him. I don't want to look like him. I don't want to smell like him. I don't want, don't get me wrong, great guy, but I got my own shit going on.
Right.
But the second single that's going to come off the rock record is called "Marriage," and I've long said that that's the best song I've ever written, and it's not quite as much of a punk rock feel as Opulence, and Opulence. To me, I mean, I keep saying punk rock, but it's kind of like a '80s Social Distortion kind of vibe. I think, as far as the guitar work and the way it does its thing. Marriage isn't that at all. It's very much a melody, but it's very much in your face, and it's about my own marriage in the early days. We got married really young, which was a mistake. But I mean, we worked through it, and we're good now. But there was a few years, but not so much. Everything came between us, and it was there's a line in it. This is you were supposed to be a part of me. Now what am I supposed to do? Well, do you know what I mean? It feels like I'm just here starting out, and you're somewhere in between. My wife was very, very pretty girl, so she got hit on everywhere we went. And anytime we went somewhere, it was always a bunch of dudes just kind of gravitate to wherever she was. And I'm like, hey, you need to come back over here. She's like, what? Are you insecure? And I'm like, yeah, a little. I told you I'm a jealous guy. But that took a little bit of getting over. To get around. But it also gave me that song, and I still say to this day that's probably the best song I've ever written. And can't wait for you to hear it. There's so much in there. There's a background vocal that I'm not going to tell anybody what it says. It's not in English, and it's in Scottish Gaelic, and it's pretty awesome. It goes right along with the Border Reavers and the whole thing. It's just another little Easter egg in there to listen for.
Interesting. Now's a song that you say is the best song you ever written. Where do you place that on an album? Do you have like, for me, I always feel like artists and bands put like their like best song on track 2. I feel like
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's not the case here.
Okay.
Actually, I stepped away from listing the songs in order, and I let my drummer, who's been my best bud for 30 years. He's been playing music with me since he was 14 years old, and so he chose the layout, and I was like, you know what, I can't come up with a reason why we shouldn't do it that way. So there you go. And he's like, really? I get to do that? I was like, yeah, fucking awesome. So yeah, but he's actually got a little piece of every one of these songs. He's the only other person I listed as a writer. I mean, he didn't write the lyrics, but he was there with me through the music for the whole thing, and so, yeah, he got to do that part, and so yeah, he put marriage a little bit farther down.
Okay. Yeah, I always wondered if I don't know if I really have ever asked that because that's just like a whole nother project of how do you ever get happy with arranging thoughts and stories and pieces of yourself?
With this one, it would have been easy for me to do it the way that I thought it should flow, because I could have gone just by timetables when I wrote, because most of these songs are, like I said, some are 15, 20 years old. And, it just goes with where I was in my life. And, but the country stuff, I'm churning that stuff out a lot faster. I don't sit back and reflect on it for years before I put it out. So it just kind of goes by, what the people at the record company think, or what whoever I'm working with, agent or whatever. Well, let's put that one here and here and here. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do that then. But with this one, I tried to get. I was a little bit too close to the project because I don't want to be that guy that has to have total control of everything when I'm not the only player on the damn stage. But with this one, I've probably been a little bit crabby about this thing or that thing, and we went and recorded, and it's now being remixed again to get it where I want it. And well, you've heard Opulence, and I think it was the right choice, because prior to this final mix that I'm finally really happy with, there were just parts that you wouldn't have even heard. They were too far back in the mix, and I couldn't hear them. So I was like, well, if I can't hear them, nobody else is going to. I was like, oh no, it's great. I'm like, no, it's my project. I'll say when it's great. I kind of felt like a jerk being that way, but I mean, I think you have to. It's, you're not going to build a house and have somebody helping you and like, oh, no, we're going to add this over here. No, that's not what I want. I want it to look like this. Right. And so that's kind of where I was on that. I felt bad about it, but then once I got the final product, I'm like, I don't feel bad anymore. Now I have what I want, what I'm really happy to put out and share with everybody.
It makes a huge difference, especially if you said you're struggling to hear something as the artist where it is.
Well, I mean, I'm the one that produced this record, and so I know what's supposed to be there. And when it's not shining through in the mix, then it's time to have the mix fixed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not anything against the guy that mixed it the first time, but it was just we've been recording on this thing for a couple of years. Just kind of doing it here and there when there was time, if the studio was open, and if I had a little money in my pocket to pay, whatever needed to be done. And so, some of it got lost in translation over the years of putting this thing together. To them. It didn't to me. I've been laser focused on this thing since we started. Because, like I said, 20 years on some of these songs. I've had plenty of time to reflect and see what I think needs to be done. So, if it's a bad product, then I'm just a bad producer, because I've had plenty of time to get it right, and we spent the damn money. That's another reason I'm like, I don't know if I'll do another rock record. This is drowning me, but it's going to be so good, man. I really hope that people give it a chance first off, because there's going to be a lot of folks that are into my country stuff that as soon as they hear a distorted guitar and heavy drums, are going to be out. And they're like, nope, I don't want no part of that. Which is great, you can't please everybody, but at the same time, most of the folks that listen to myself and folks like myself, like Jinx and all those guys, he's from a metal background. He put out the Came by Nod, and it was really good, and so maybe he found the right group to listen to it, because they were open minded enough to give it a listen and give it a shot, and so some of our we share some of that fan base. And hopefully they'll be open-minded enough with Curse of the Reaver to give it a shot as well. And hopefully they like it.
I think they will. Yeah, the one thing about, I've been told, and I've also noticed, like, when people listen to, like, rock and punk rock, not so much punk rock with the length of songs and the attention span that you can have with music, like a metal fan, like being a fan of some of those prog rock, prog metal guys, they have like 15-minute songs, mm-hmm. and you have attention spans. Like
I have a hard time listening to that stuff that just drags on and on and on.
Yeah,
I don't care what the groove is. I mean, if it's at a party and we're all drinking around a fire and everybody's conversing anyway, it'll go unnoticed. It's cool that there's still something going. But man, yeah, anything over 6 minutes or so, I think I'm out. I think I've got one on this record that's 5 minutes or so, but it's a ballad. It's the only ballad on there. Of course, every rock record needs at least one ballad. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, you got to have your Beth or something on there, you know.
Yeah, I just think rock, like older, especially older rock guys, they'll definitely give something, more than, man. Can you imagine like a young kid raised on like social media and iPads to get past the I don't know how long it is that Black Flags My War, that intro.
Oh yeah.
Get like that intro, if you've never heard it and you just be like, I could, but if you get past that 20 some seconds, and you're like, oh yeah, but that, I remember the first time listening to that, I was like, what's going on here? Ooh, as a guitar player, you're like, well, that's interesting note, and then then the song hits you, and you just, man, when the vocals come and the song and the guitar totally changes, you're like, hell yeah, man. But you got to make it past,
Yeah.
and give it a shot.
Well, I was big into Black Flag for a while, when I was younger, and because I went from riding bulls to riding skateboards. I moved to Shawnee, Oklahoma, and and I met Grant, my best bud, and he was a little skater punk, and I was like, figured out I could do that, and I was doing it in cowboy boots at first, and then because that was the wardrobe I had. I was singing country music and riding bulls, so I finally got me a pair of low top Chucks and went nuts, man. I went everywhere, and then we were both. I mean, he was 14, and of course Nirvana was huge, and so I was getting turned on to a whole different world of stuff, and I liked Nirvana too for the most part, but my idea about what their music wasn't what everybody else was. I was like, I want to know where that came from. And so I started digging into like the Pixies and the Melvins and all this, which took me on into harder punk and street punk and oi and all. I listened to all of it, and the harder and the louder and the more angry sounding, the better there for a while. And then I found Face to Face, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is really close to what I was doing, but with that same energy. And I just fucking fell in love with that band. That's been. My kids get so mad, dude, if we're doing a long road trip because it's Face to Face for hours and hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah, can we listen to anything else? You actually know Trevor now. You don't have to listen to his music all the time. I was like, just because I know him now doesn't mean that I don't love the music still.
It's just a perk,
right?
Yeah, man,
that still blows my mind that I'm actually friends with Face to Face. I'm like, come on, man. They say don't meet your heroes, but I say go for it, because I was scared to death he was going to be a jerk. I was like,
really?
Me being from central Oklahoma, them being from Southern California, I was like, I met him and got to do it. The day I met him, I got to open for him, and I was like, he was standing on the side, and he was doing his country songs, and I was just blown away. And of course, I'm shaking like a fucking leaf, man. I'm just up there with my guitar. I'm like, ugh. I got 2 songs in. And he whispered something to my wife, and I got down, and he goes to get up, and he says, if you know any of the words, feel free to join me on a couple of the Face to Face songs. And I just bust out laughing, and my wife's cracking up, and he's like, he kind of looks, she's like, if he knows the words, he knows every fucking thing you've ever done. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. But we got done, and we got done with that show, and he said, no, you're not opening anymore. So we did a song swap the whole fucking run. And then the next year we did a longer run and got pretty close. And, I got to co-write some stuff with him on his new record, which is even more surreal than anything. Like, I have co-writes with fucking Trevor Keith. Fuck yeah. Like, I'll take it awesome. All day.
That is wild. Like, when you're like a huge fan of a band, and next thing you know, you're like involved with like the band.
30 fucking years, I'm like the biggest fan, and then boom, I'm playing fucking solo tours and shit with them. Like, fuck yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, and then he invited my wife and I this last year to go out to L.A. was south of L.A. The big Punk in the Park, No Effects puts on, Fat Mike and all those guys. And so it was like them and Bad Religion and just all of the staples. And we're on the side stage, and the fucking crowd is ridiculous. And Dennis is standing right there giving me a thumbs up and shit. I'm like, fuck. I looked over at my wife. I was like, we made it, baby. We made it. We can die now. Yeah, it was so awesome, man. Just going and hanging out in their camper with them and shit. They had because they had like these big RVs for all of the artists. Like some of these RVs were nicer than my house. I'm like, what the fuck? Look at this shit. All right. Greg Graffin from Bad Religion just walking by all nonchalant. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey, Casper.
Pinch
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I was blown away. One of the coolest things that I've ever got to experience ever. And, those guys are just so fucking kind. They're just super nice guys. And, Scott Shiflett, of course, I think everybody knows who Scott Shiflett is. And his brother Chris is the lead guitar player for the Foo Fighters. And so, we're sitting there talking, and of course my wife just aching to ask him something. I was like, don't bring up the Foo Fighters. I mean, he's in Face to Face. He's not in the Foo Fighters. His brother is. Of course, he doesn't mind answering. And we go to leave, and he gives her a hug and a kiss on the cheek. She's like, he kissed me on my face. I was like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. I was like, you didn't kiss me, bastard. But no, it was the coolest, man. It was just the fucking coolest. I can't wait to go hang out with those guys again.
It's great to hear when people are good people too.
Dude, I was so scared that he was going to be a dick. I was like, no. He was just the most humble, nice guy. He and his wife were just awesome. Invited my wife and myself over for dinner at their house. And I'm just sitting there looking at my wife. I was like, we're having dinner with Trevor and his wife. What the fuck? And she's like, trying to tap my hand. She's like, calm down. It's all right. I was like, no, it ain't. This is awesome. But yeah, it was badass. Something I hope every especially every artist who gets out on the road and gets the opportunity to meet their heroes. I hope it goes good for everyone, because that's a feeling that absolutely pushed me out of a bad spot and back into getting this rock record done and doing this other shit. I was like, I was kind of dragging my ass and like, I don't know if I'm going to continue doing this. I don't know if I'm going to do, and it was a instant mind changer. I was like, yeah, nope, I can't give up. I got to keep moving. It would be easier to go get a 9 to 5, sit here, be home every day, not be touring all the damn time. It would be easier, but on the pocketbook, but it wouldn't be easier on my soul. I gotta move. This is what I do. It was a nice wake me up watching, going to see a punk rock band, my favorite punk rock band. And then, and just kind of something clicked. I'm like, all right, yeah, dude, you're stupid if you think you're going to stop ever. I was like, so yeah, that's a big part of the reason that this rock record is finished is those guys lit a fire under my ass, and then Dennis came on and started playing lead guitar on it, and I'm like, fuck, here we go. And then, so yeah, I've been giddy like a kid, man, just trying to get this record out. Just every time I get another mix back with another one of the songs, I just want to share it with everybody. Good thing I've got my wife to ground me. I share it with Grant, and that's it. Nobody else has heard it yet. And he's playing drums on it, so he deserves to hear it, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's been times I was like, I ain't going to share it with nobody until I share it with the world and everybody gets it. And then I was like, nah, that'd be an asshole move. He gets to hear it. The band that's going to be backing me up when we'd go tour it hasn't heard half of it yet. They heard the old mixes. I was like, well, that's sufficient enough for you to know the song.
There you go.
The guitar player. Now the lead guitar player has to relearn everything.
Right. That's
so
always
you gotta keep them on their toes, man.
Oh, dude, that definitely, especially when you hear something you can't figure it out.
Oh yeah.
It especially like when I've used like session musicians that are friends, and it's just when you have to call, and be like, "Come on, man, what are you doing right there? I can't figure it out." Oh, you can't figure it out, and it's as a typical musician, like it's some people don't realize like being mean to each other is our way of being endearing
Oh yeah,
sometimes,
absolutely, yeah.
and like regular people don't know that, and they'll like, especially if you're like having like I always like we're having a row, and people go, "What's a row?" I'm like, we're having a friend like a row like a friendly fight, and like the lead singer look back and be like, "Dude, are you even in tune?" And be like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" I'm like, "It's a joke. He crushed that song, like it sounded great." But people were like, "Oh, they're fighting," and I'm like, "No, it's
Yeah, no, it's for me. It's got to be that way. If I can't have anybody on stage with me that takes shit too serious.
right.
It's got to be fun. And with any music that I'm playing, like I've got the traditional Irish band too, and that's probably the most fun thing I get to do all year. All of it's fun, but that show is nothing but drunken banter and old
Right.
traditional Irish fighting songs, man. And it's just the coolest shit ever. And a bunch of guys throwing on kilts and jumping up on the really tall stages. You
Yeah,
get what we call pervert
screaming.
row. All the older ladies sitting right in the front, looking up at the stage. Trying to see if it's true what they wear under the kilt.
Somebody
A
turn the
bunch of
fan
thirsty
on.
old ladies.
Oh, that's funny.
Man, it's a hoot, but it's luckily enough I've had the honor and the privilege of having most of these guys that do one can do the others, and so we get to take that same camaraderie from one show to another, and so it works out pretty cool. And it's a different experience every night, and that's another thing. It's like a lot of people, I'll catch them next night. Well, oh, man, you should have heard what they did, at this last show. Well, they didn't do that when I seen them. Well, better go out every time then.
Yeah, should have been there. It is amazing. Like so, man. Sometimes the drummer's feeling it. Sometimes the bass player's feeling it.
Yeah.
And I love bands that they don't play to clicks, and they realize that, and they look over and they're like, "Take some extra bars, dude."
Right.
And the whole band just like someone's just. Sometimes you just need to, drive nails in the stage, and if you're on fire, flame on, dude. That was the one thing. Like listening to like the bigger heavy metal guys when like man, the whole song is just like ready to like burst, and it's just like, oh, we're gonna run out of the click and the effects, and I'm just like, it just lost some soul to me. But when you see those old like coming off the floor, and we're doing this, if the drummer's doing a little bit faster, we're gonna play a little bit faster.
Yeah,
And
shit, I look forward to that. That's part of my favorite part of the live show is, with the country stuff, we don't do that. With the rock stuff,
yeah,
we get in and feel whatever's up. The country stuff, drummer will listen to the click for the first, just to get the tempo, and then clicks off, and then we'll play the song on through our stuff. But with the rock stuff, nah, it's balls to the wall. If it's fast, it's fast, and we're just gonna get in there and just blow the damn stage apart and walk away while it smolders, smiling our fucking asses off because we just had a hell of a show. And so yeah, that's the part of the country thing that's the only thing that after a couple of years it happens to me every time. I get that itch. I'm like, I need some energy on it. Oh, I want to go out there. I want some distortion. I want to throw some shit around. And so it's nice to actually have a record coming that if I want to do that show, that's what I do. And and I've had people ask me in discussions about like, hey, why don't you do like old Hank Third did with Ass Jack and all that, go out and do your country show, then come back out and do the rock show. I was like, I don't want to mix my mind up like that. I have to be in the right mindset for each of these things, and because I'm not gonna do it justice if I've got punk rock on the brain and then I'm trying to play like Silver Buttons or one of my real slow fucking songs. It's not going to translate. I was like, I need to get in the right headspace And I was like, you know, more power to Hank 3 when he was able to do that. But, you know, I don't even want to try it. I don't think I even want to. But that said, I do think that in September, I think we're going to Indianapolis for 3 nights. And I think each night's going to be a different show, country show and the rock show and the Irish show. I was like, that gives me a full day to get in the right headspace, you know. So yeah, he's like, man, bring me that trifecta show. I was like, bet. I was like, yeah, I can do that, because most of the musicians, the key musicians for sure, are all in this, you know, all part of each one of those. And so it's not a lot of extra to bring the extra guys that need to be there, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'd be the first time I've ever done it.
That's got to be a wild experience for someone that's never seen you before. To see you the one night as, you know, Casper, country Casper, and then you got the Curse of the Reaver, Casper, and then it's Rebels and Devils, right?
Rebels, Devils, yeah, a bunch of guys up there throwing beer around.
Yeah, and you're like, these are the same guys.
Well, there ain't a whole lot of people that do that kind of stuff. You know, there's a couple of guys that I know that have, you know, like a rock band, a blues band, and a country band. And but I mean, the rock and the blues aren't all that far. You know, I don't know anybody that has 3 different acts that are so far different. You know, so that's kind of cool idea to throw out there and do it. So we're gonna give it a shot and see if it flops or flails. It'll be one or the other. So yeah, hopefully it's cool. You know, hopefully the listener will enjoy the diversity.
Yeah, I think so too. It's it's very diverse.
Oh yeah, it's definitely diverse, and you know, we've had a handful of people, because I play up there. I play the country show up there at the place up there that we're doing a couple times a year, and we have a good crowd. You know, so we've already had a decent response. We're like, I'm getting tickets for every fucking night. We're not missing this. And so I was like, right on. You know, a couple of them have seen the Irish show, but none of them seen the rock show. Nobody has. So it's in store for everyone, man. It's about to get real interesting.
I would say, especially like you said, this has never been a thing. It's just
not outside of Oklahoma. I mean, we did it 20 years ago, but we never left the state really. You know, we did one time, and it was a terrible, terrible experience. And everybody just got real shit-faced and couldn't play their instruments.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these guys are touring through. Let's take care of them. Everybody's got their alcohol. They got their fucking weed. And I'm like, oh, yeah, come on, man. Everybody got shit-faced. Couldn't play their instruments. So I was like, well, so much for that tour. Let's go home.
Yeah, let's go home. So, like, once Curse of the Reaver drops, is like Casper McWade, is that the album? Is that going to be the show?
No, I mean, the talent buyer will have, you know, the option, whichever one they want.
Okay.
If they want the country show. We've got a few booked for the rock deal, and my agent wants to put us out with another band that's some younger guys, but they've got a new rock record coming out. I mean, they're pretty much a rock band anyway, but I'm not at liberty to say who yet, but it'll be a lot of fun, you know, and so I'm kind of looking forward to it. You know, the idea of being out months doing it, I don't know, you know, but I think maybe weeks at a time, I think I could live with. I mean, that's a lot. I do a lot of screaming and a lot. It's a show. It's a very, very draining. At the end of it, I've got to sit down for a minute, because we're doing big jumps and all kinds of. I mean, you know, jumping off the drum riser, big. I mean, it's a rock show. It's a very, very energetic, and I'm very, very old. And getting older by the day, so you know I can still do it, but I don't know for how long, and I don't want to try to do it for months at a time anyway. So yeah, I think sporadically a week or two run here and there would be cool, but yeah, that's where I'll be missing the country show. I can go up there and do my 90-minute headliner set and walk off without even breathing hard. So yeah, it ain't happening with the rock show. It's balls to the
No,
wall. It's all in. So
that
yeah.
like yeah, oh yeah. So you're definitely your voice treatment
Oh
definitely
yeah.
different. Drinking throat coat and all
Yeah,
those
we did
sprays
a
and
handful
stuff.
of these songs at my birthday this last year in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I felt it for days. I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah, I need to rest this for a minute. Yeah, it was a lot of honey and lemon and all that kind of stuff. It just felt raw and beat up.
Yeah,
I'm
people don't realize like it's like especially like those guys do all those growls and the screams. It takes it.
it
That's a
takes a lot.
talent.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
takes a lot.
talent. It's endurance and it's conditioning to be able to do that. And
Yeah,
just
you
man,
can't. You know, it took me a little while when we started recording these songs and talking about it. We got together a couple times with the guys and had some rehearsals and whatnot. And I'd get about halfway through, and I'm like, guys, I got to stop. I was like, I'm not going to sing these. I'm going to talk them so we just get through the parts. I said, but you know, it took me a little while to admit. It was hard to admit that I couldn't do that, like I used to. You know, we used to do it every fucking night for years. You know, and it took a lot. And then I was like, you know, once we did it a few more times, I got to where I could get through the whole show without just feeling like hammered hell, without losing my voice. But it took a little while. It took a cool minute to get back to that spot, and so I'm there and ready now. But you know, that's once we uh, once we tour and promote this record a little bit, you know, we'll see if I mean if it takes off, that'd be great because I really enjoy it. But if it don't, that's cool too. I've got it. As soon as we're done putting this one out and promoting it, I got to go back to the studio with a new country record. I've got all the songs written for it. It's ready to go, and I'm excited about that too. But not as excited as I am about the rock record at the moment. It's just because it's the hot fresh thing right now, you know. And so,
and
but
it's like a passion project.
it
All
is.
these years.
It's just it's something that I've been dying to have it recorded correctly. We've recorded a few of these songs at local studios in Oklahoma that just turned out like hammered shit, and you know, we ended up paying for it anyway. And then, you know, I'm not happy with it. And we never released it because we weren't happy with it. And you know, when I said something about doing it, even Grant was like, "You gonna kick that dead horse again, man?" I was like, "It's got to be right. We got to do it right one time." And we got where we're at. And he's like, "Good call, man. These fucking songs." I was like, yeah, I always knew the potential was there. We just didn't have the right pieces. We didn't have you know, didn't have the money, and still don't. But you know, that's why it's taken so long. Just paying it out a little at a time because it's, you know, I keep putting out country songs, and that's keeping me busy. You know, I don't have to put out the rock record, but I want to. And so I was able to take my time a little bit and, you know, and finance it a little bit and do all those things. And, you know, and one of the things I'm real proud of, like I said, first off, the number one thing was no AI, no trace of AI on this project at all, or in any of my projects. I don't, you know, I'm not in it. But that being able to take my time, and then hopefully talking about it enough to where people give it a shit enough to at least listen to it once all the way through. And if nothing grabs, cool. But I think it will. I think there's a handful of songs on there that are really gonna do really well. I think every one of them are great. The number one track, we were talking about track listing earlier, track placement. The number one track is the most punk rock song I've ever written, and it's 100%. You're gonna feel like you put on a punk record. Then the temperature changes a little bit and cools down some for the rest of the record. But that one is pretty much it's not pretty much it's 100% a song about, you know, quit fucking crying. Nobody's gonna do it for you. Get up and go do it. And you know, and so there's some folks nowadays that don't want to hear that. Like, no, the government should pay me for everything. I shouldn't have to work. Why would I want to work? The government has all this money and they're not giving me any. I'm like, yeah, the government don't give a shit about you or me or anyone else. Get off your ass and go get it done. But but uh but yeah, it's called The Last Day in Prison. Is track number one, and it's pretty cool. It's an inspirational tune, I think, if you listen to the lyrics. It's an angry tune if you just listen to the guitars. It's moving. It's punk rock. It's a very very much a fast punk rock song.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
That's definitely down my alley.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. This record, it's very cohesive, and I was that was another thing that I was like, we've got 2 or 3 more albums of rock songs that we didn't put on this record that are just as good. I wanted this thing to be a cohesive unit when it comes out. When everything, you can listen to it from the first track all the way to the end of the record and not want to skip anything. And I knew for me to put on a record and not skip anything, it's got to be pretty outstanding. And so that's why we've done it and redone it. And then now we're getting this mixed just the way we want it. And man, yeah, it's one that, and I don't even like listening to my own self. Like usually if something on mine comes on the radio or something, I change the channel, But this one, I'm obsessed. I'm just listening to it over and over and over. I'm like, shit, that's good. So yeah, so yeah, Curse of the Reaver. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm excited to hear it too, in its entirety, and with like the rock record, and like will there be any like merging? Like if you're doing a rock show, is there any songs from
Probably
the?
not. I thought about that. There's a couple on there that could pass in the country show.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean the bassist and lead guitar player are not the same for those two bands, and so I would feel like I was doing a disservice to one or the other if I was just be like, all right, now you got to learn this guy's parts and do this over here, and which would have been great if that just happened to where everybody was, but this is the guy playing. Of course, it's not Dennis Hill. Dennis is on the record, but it'd be awesome if Dennis Hill was in the band. But we got a guy here that's just great. It's fantastic. His name's Charlie, and he'll be playing all that stuff. But he is absolutely not a country picker, And with the country show, I need somebody who can do that, the chicken picking and all that other kind of stuff. Like in what was the one we were talking about earlier? Go Together. The guitar in that is awesome. It's a goofy song lyrically, but the music is fantastic. And the guys that played on it just killed it. So yeah, I don't see it being something that we probably do. There might be one that I play lead guitar on that might. It's the ballad. When I was telling you the ballad, it might one or 2 times make it onto a country show. Because it could. It's got B3 organ in it, which would be covered really well by steel guitar.
That's cool.
It's a real droning kind of a organ in the background. Is fucking gorgeous.
That's nice for the fan that likes rock and roll Casper and country Caspers. You could scratch both itches.
There'll be a handful, and I hope there's a fucking metric ton of them. But
right.
But I mean, I think there'll at least be a decent amount of folks that dig both, and I think those will be the same people that go to like the listening rooms to actually hear the song. I think that those are a different brand of music lovers, man, and I absolutely that's my favorite crowd to play to because they know the words and they know what you're talking about, and if they don't, they come and ask you, hey, what did you mean when you said that? And I love that shit, man. I love it, love it, love it. And so I think that they're going to give this, they're going to be the most open-minded, I think, with listening to it. They're going to pay attention to the lyrics. They're going to pay attention to the structure and, and the production. And they're going to, give it more of a go than just somebody who's just listening for the beat or the feel. And so yeah, I think all the people that come see me and those kind of places, I think will probably be the first ones anyway, to latch on to the rock stuff and give it a real listen.
That's a great point because I've only experienced the listening room experience once, and
it's
they're the people that help change your trailer tires. They know everything about you, but they're there to, learn more. They'll
Absolutely.
police a crowd. They're not going to let anybody
I mean, the
answer
big
the
shows
phone.
like arena shows and stuff are great, but I mean, I will take a listening room every time. Just it's it's a little bit more intimate. You're one on one with everybody in that room for the most part. And they're when you look out and you see them out there so focused intently on what you're doing, singing along, you know, that right there for me is the reassurance that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Because if it wasn't any good, there would nobody be there doing any of those things. And
Right.
it's amazing to be able to pour your soul out, pour your heart out, and somebody connect with what you're doing, because it makes you feel like you're making a difference to them, even though it's kind of the other way around. The fact that they're listening to me is making the big difference to me. And so yeah, that's a yin and yang there. I love it. Listening rooms are tops.
Yeah, I wish. I wish. I don't even know if we have any around here, but I went to the Bird's Nest in Dunn, and it's because I don't hear lyrics. I would say.
That's one of my favorite rooms.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've been there. That was my first time, and like I'm pretty sure we were talking about it before. Like even people ordered drinks. Like, I'll take a water. I'll take a Coke. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And because like I hear everything else but the lyrics. But when you hear the story, and you hear the artist talk about the song, that helps with me like so much to focus on. Now I want to hear the story. When
Right.
like if you start out and you got like a really cool chord progression. Now I'm looking at your fingers and I'm like, what key is he in? And oh man, that's a really cool. Oh, now he's doing hammer-ons, and I wish I could finger pick like that. And next thing you know, I'm like, I have no idea what that song is about. Do I clap? Do I cry?
Right.
But being in an experience like that where you can just tell, like I love music, but when you walk in there, you thought you loved music, and you're just like there's like it's just a presence there of, I'm going to sit down, phone off. And
Man, you get rooms like that there. There's a couple. There's one in St. Genevieve, Missouri, and it's called Midnight Slit in the bottom. It's in the basement of a hotel, Audubon's, and it's awesome. It's great. It's kind of like the Bird's Nest in that sense, but the sense of respect that the artist feels, I can say myself and almost everybody I know, because most of the other guys that tour and do the same thing. We've spoken at it on Linked about it, and it's just that the respect that you feel, the love you feel, is unmatched by any other show you're ever going to do, and everybody's so intent. That place, how they do and done. They're very quiet when they order. They do not want to break the songwriter's concentration. They don't want to interrupt in any way. And there's a couple of places that they take it even a step further. They have like index cards where you can mark what you want and take it up there. You don't say a fucking word. Then they give you your shit and you walk off. And so yeah, it's amazing. The lengths that a true fan will go to make you feel appreciated and welcome and respected.
That's got to be a great recharge.
It is 100%. 100%. There's key shows on, and I'll say this probably for all of us. There are key shows on every run that we know that if we have 2 or 3 bad ones, there's a great one coming because we know the room that we're playing, and the hosts are just as much to blame for the awesomeness as just the venue itself, because they've told everybody, and it doesn't have to be told anymore because everybody knows. They learned from the day that they first came and saw a show. This is how we do things here. You shut up, you listen, because we all want to listen. And then, if that doesn't work for that person, they don't come back. But the right people do. And so like I'll be back and done at the end of May, and I can't wait. The Bird's Nest is a fantastic venue, and Sean and Carla that own and run that place are just, man, top tier people. It's great. So yeah, that one, and there's just, like I said, there's a handful of places, but that one's very much top of the list.
Yeah, I wish it was closer.
Yeah, it's a trek, but I mean, for me, it seems like I've been touring around, even just with the solo thing for a lot of years, and for me, it's a homecoming. Every place I go, I get to see these faces and these people who I've made a connection with, and I now care about, and it's like, I try to show up early so that we can all go sit down and eat somewhere, or just catch up and have a beer or whatever, and it doesn't always work out because, sometimes I'm traveling 6 to 8 hours a day just to get to the gig to play another 4, and then try to get some sleep so I can drive 6 to 8 hours the next day. I should fire the guy that books that.
Go yell at yourself in the mirror. Why do you do this?
Dude, do you not own a map?
Yeah. Like, end up arguing with yourself like the Green Goblin.
A lot of it, I'll do it that way because that's the dates that the venue had open, and so I try to make it. I don't mind driving 8 hours in a day. I've done it for years and years. I don't like to if I don't have to. I'd rather drive an hour and a half, 2 hours for the next show. Right. But even at that, that's probably wrong. Probably 3 or 4 hours. I don't like to be that close because I don't want the draw from the night before to be the same draw in the next area, and then everybody goes to one and not the other. I'm one of those people. A lot of guys. There's a handful that I disagree with. They're indifferent on whether or not the venue does well. Like, as long as I get paid, man, they booked me. It's not my job to pack the place. I'm like, kind of is. It's your name on the marquee, buddy. I don't beat myself up if nobody shows, but I damn sure don't just not do anything, And so I always try to make sure that I'm far enough between one venue to the next that that's not the issue, at least,
Yeah, you're not splitting your draw.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people don't care that, there's folks that just want to get paid. I want to get paid too, it's the only thing I do for a living, but I want to feel good about it when I do.
100%. And it is nice when someplace they bring their own crowd, but it's their crowd.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. See, that's not even the crowd I'm looking for.
Right. It's just,
folks. Don't get me wrong. I'm always up for a challenge. I'll turn people on, new folks onto my music. That's the point, is to grow the audience. But yeah, when it's just their crowd, it's usually not a music crowd unless you've got dance music going in the background or something, karaoke.
Yeah. They're just the places where you lose the crowd. I just remember playing in a band that had smokers. I'm like, dude, you're not smoking tonight. That DJ starts playing, the Percolator and all these songs. We lost the whole night. We're done. We're gonna kill this place, and everyone's gonna leave, and they're gonna go out and do whatever they want, go talk to the bar, and they're gonna come back. And I've seen it so many times. They're like, why is nobody paying attention? I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I said we lost the crowd. Nobody knows our music all the way out here. But,
yeah, I've dealt with that a lot as well. That's it was apples and oranges, man. When I first started hitting the road and touring at all, there was a couple people that knew my name and that knew a couple of my songs, but of course, it wasn't until the collaboration stuff with Jinx when people really, it's, as much as it sucks, most people won't even get out and support you unless you've already made it. They're like, I don't know who this fucking guy is. I've never heard any of his stuff. I'm not going there. Like, oh man, that's the hardest part of this whole business for me is, but we just spent $500 to go see this guy down the road. I ain't gonna say any names. I almost did, but just right down the road, $500 for nosebleed. And I'm like, but you wouldn't pay $5 to go check out this guy over here who's better, really. But that's always crawled on me. I hate that. But
yeah.
Circling back to the listening rooms, that's where that's where you got the right crowd. You know, they're not. I mean, they might buy the $500 tickets. I doubt it, because they're getting fulfilled by hearing real stories from real people with real talent. You know, and not some bullshit with a bunch of toning problems.
100%. And there's no connectivity, because when you're at a place like that, at 99.9% chance you're gonna get to like have a moment with the artist and tell your story about the songs with people, and like as the artist, when you go back and you see the same people, just through that and seeing the same people, seeing the faces and having the stories. And it's really cool when like you'd be like, oh hey, what's up Steve, what's up Sharon, like that makes all the difference in the world. Like when I walk in somewhere and they're like, especially if they know my name, because not a lot of people know my first name, and they'll be like, hey Patrick, I'm like, oh, because I've had it's funny, and like they're embarrassed, but they put me on the list. And I got a text message. Oh my God, are you in the concert? And I was like, why is that? You don't know my name, do you? And he's like, I was like, it's totally cool. Because for a while, I like wanted to like remain anonymous.
Right.
And before I know it, I was just like, okay. And I don't know what happened. Next thing you know, Facebook's like 6,000 followers. And I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen? Like, I asked Alexa, and it said my full name. I was like, "Oh my God!" Well, that's out of the. Because I feel like I'm a junior, so growing up, anytime I got in trouble, I never put junior on everything. So they're writing police logs in my test. He's like, "You put junior, you go by junior." I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah, I'm a junior.
I'm a scumbag.
Yeah. I'm a junior. My father was a felon for my whole life, and so he was a really fantastic stand-up guy. But man, dude, yeah, it was I had a hard time putting junior on anything, and that's why I don't go by. I've actually started the process to legally change my first name to Casper, because that man left me nothing. Matter of fact, on Curse of the Reaver, there's a song called "Thanks for Nothing" that I wrote for him. So yeah, that one's very. It's more commercial sounding than the rest of them. Everybody that's heard it is like, I can hear that on the radio. I was like, oh, I ain't mad about the radio. Let's do that. Yeah. Of course, as soon as anything hits the radio, all my old punk rock purists are, you fucking sell out. Like, yeah, that's dude. You can't win for losing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm all sold out of fucks to give about having the lights cut off. So I'll take the paycheck, buddy.
Yeah, that's like when people. That's one of the things that scared me the most about music. I remember it was one of my favorite bands, and they had a song in a video game. They had a song in a movie. They were signed to some big thing, and then like after the show, you go out to the van, and they're asking for change so they can get peanut butter and jelly at like the store, like to eat. And,
a lot of people think it's this big beautiful thing. Well, all those things that were done for them, they were probably fronted the money to do, and once the bills were paid, now they got no money, and now they owe the fucking label, because they gave them a $50,000 or whatever sign-on bonus. They had to go buy gear that was worthy of fucking traveling, because most of the time you're working with shit gear unless you've been collecting for a while. And a lot of folks don't get that. It's there's every topic we get on, I've got a song I've been writing about it, man.
There's another one,
a country song that there's so the life of a writer ain't what you may think. There ain't much money in the bank, but that ain't why I do it anyway.
And 100%. It like broke my heart. I was like, you guys are hungry. Like you guys just gave me so much happiness and have like made drives better, and when I used to work out, you like hit heavier weights and just all around made my life so much better. And here you are begging so you can eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It crushed my dreams for a little bit. My One of my best
Well,
friends was his manager, and he's like, "Yeah, dude," he's like, "we got to pay that back." He's like, "We're not can't cast a check in the middle of the night." You know, just back before, like, you had to like go into the bank. He's like, and even that doesn't get directly funneled down. It's just like, he's like, work for peanuts, and we're begging for peanuts. And he's like, yeah, we like, man, it's wild. You see you have a $20 per diem. Like, what do you?
Well, I do got to say that that's one of the things I love about playing, my country show, is 90% of the venues that I play really do take care of their artists really well. The pay's exponentially better than punk rock. I mean, especially in Oklahoma, dude. You can't. I mean, you're paying for the privilege to play in Oklahoma if you're playing punk rock, and so I don't miss those days so much. And now I've got a little bit more of a crowd. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit more than splitting a hundo between 5 guys.
Right.
But yeah, it's the country. We get treated much better than a lot of folks do. I mean, we've got some things in our rider that we just ask for the bare essentials, really. I'm not a greedy man, and and most of the times the venue go above and beyond anyway. Make sure that there's a big spread of food for everyone, and maybe I should put peanut butter sandwiches in my rider. That'd be hilarious.
Make sure they read it. Read the whole thing.
The green M&Ms or whatever it was that did just to make sure they were paying attention. Was it David Allan Coe or somebody that was doing it? It was something like that.
Van Halen, because their stage setup had to be precise because they had so much. I guess it was due to weight, which is like, because you find that out and you're kind of like, I thought that was like, just because they were nuts, we need this, that, and this. That was also like when we would play venues, whoever would talk to me, like the sound guy, or even if you could find like the bus driver, I'd be like, what's the craziest rider? I need to know what's on the rider. And it's some like, I used to hang out with a girl, she worked for Airmark, and she was a handler, and some of the riders, it's like, it had to be so many count thread Egyptian towels and made of this fabric and fold it in a certain way. And I'm like, man, how can you do this job? She was like, because sometimes you just get a guy who said, any cold beer, Jerry Cantrell. There you go. Like,
mine's pretty simple. It's not quite that simple, but pretty damn simple. I don't ask for a lot. And my guys, hell, half the band don't drink, and I don't drink heavily anymore. Not like I used to. But I usually ask for, just the bare minimum. And anytime there's a little extra, that's always a nice touch, Right. I think a lot of these venues, especially like the bigger ones, they're so used to having to provide so much stuff that I wonder if they're just looking at my rider going, is he fucking with us? Because we're not going to have this or that, and he's going to be pissed off and not, I don't need much, dude. Like, especially if I'm taking the bus, my bus is always, I load it down with what I think I need before we ever leave the house. And so we're just sitting there. I don't need snacks or any of that shit. I've got a bottle of Jameson. I've got what I need on that bus. So yeah, I mean,
the essentials.
Yeah, the essentials. John Jameson and Son, they're hanging out with me. That's all I need.
Right.
Yeah.
You never know. When, like, especially if you're traveling in the middle of the country, of where to get stuff like that, and there's the different laws. It's so weird sometimes traveling. It's like, this is the same country, right? And if you don't know, like, the local laws, like, especially on the Sunday, God forbid, put that back. Like, oh, okay, sorry.
I've only had 1 or 2 places like on a Sunday where I couldn't get, we took the bus for the Irish tour a couple of times. And I've decided that was not the best idea. I won't get behind the wheel but I usually drive myself. It's my bus. I'm like, well, I don't really trust anybody else. It's a big piece of fucking metal.
Yeah.
And I was like, if somebody messes up my bus, that'd suck. But somebody mess up somebody on the road because they couldn't handle my bus is another. So I won't get behind the wheel if I've had one drink. I won't, not at all. I mean, just I won't. It's too big. It's too much of a risk. I need my wits about me when I'm behind the wheel of that big son of a bitch. But it's a 40-foot bus. I'm not. So we went this last time, and I can't tell you how many times we just turned the generator on, just leave the bus right there. We were a couple of blocks up the road from the venue, just sitting there. Cops coming by. You boys all right? Yes, sir. You can't park here for long. I was like, I'll be gone in a couple of hours. Well, that'll be all right then. He's like, did you have too much to drink? I said, no, sir. I had just enough. They were always cool, because there wasn't really shit they could do about it. I was in a decent, I always made sure that I didn't have a drink at all before I knew I was parked where I could be and all that, but they were always pretty cool about it, as long as you were honest with them, but every time, I never ran out of alcohol, especially on the Irish tour, because we do have, whiskey and beer is the rider, and so, I'd have, by the time we get back from that, it was, it's a 7 drunken nights tour. So we play 7 shows back to back in 7 different cities. And so it's about 10 days because you got to get your travel, we haven't done a Rebels Devils show in Oklahoma in a few years. And so we start like up in Nebraska or Iowa or something, and then go across the upper states. And, so we get up there and every fucking place has, half a case of Jameson and, all the Guinness we can drink. And, so by the time night 2 comes around, we've got to pull off someplace and clean that bus because it's shit everywhere. Food boxes and, it's a fucking disaster. The kilts all over the fucking place. I'm like, guys, come on. There's fucking 6 of us in here on this bus. Man, we go, there was a lot of food. Then you get up and you look and, you can tell who was drinking and who wasn't because their food boxes are still full.
Yeah, right.
They get shit-faced and pass out and didn't eat their food.
Yeah.
And corned beef and Guinness don't smell so good the next day.
There's a bunch of kilts around and he's just like, yeah, we got to start writing our names on these things.
Man, it was a party that I'm happy to leave behind for the future dates. It was excessive at times. So,
yeah.
as you can imagine, a bunch of drunk Irish guys throwing alcohol all over the damn place.
Yeah, screaming, fuck the British Army.
Fuck the British Army, you goddamn right. Yeah, it's something about those songs that really bring out the drinker in a man. Yeah, it's some good time stuff. But
yeah, that's got to be a great little run.
It's so much fun. It's more. It should be illegal. How fucking fun that is. But at the end of it, you're ready for it to be the end of it. So,
yeah, it sounds like you're
like, oh God, I got to do this again. Because St. Patrick's Day is always the last show. You'll show up there in the morning and just trying to choke down water and electrolytes, and like, fuck, how are we going to do this? And we always do, and it's always the best show of the run. But yeah, every time we've done it, the 16th and 17th are always sold out, no matter where we are. But our favorite place to do it on those dates is Boxcars in Clinton, Wisconsin. And it's a small room, but that place is packed asshole to elbow, and everybody in there is just fucking hyped up. And like, usually that's a listening room. That's another listening room that you can hear a pin drop when you're doing your acoustic stuff there. But when we bring the Rebels Devils through there, that place is rowdy, man. It's such a fun time. Yeah, but I look forward to not having to do that again until next March. I'm still fresh off of that one, man. I'm still feeling it. It takes weeks to get back to feeling human after consuming that much alcohol.
Now, like, if you're a fan And you do all 7 nights. Is there like a name for that, or like a badge of honor that you've
Oh yeah,
bestowed
yeah,
upon
absolutely.
people?
There's something that we tote with us on every tour. Like this last year, nobody made all 7 nights, so we auctioned it off, and as a barn, which is a Irish hand drum. We had that, and everybody after St. Patrick's Day show, we all signed it and put it up for auction. And that thing brought more than what we got paid to fucking play the show. I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome. But last year, or year before last, I guess it was, we had a set of bagpipes that went to an individual who made all 7 shows.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So,
Bagpipes.
we try to do something really cool, and load them down with merch, whatever's left at the end of the run. We'll get one of whatever's in their size still. And, yeah, you got to be a pretty hard individual to do all 7 nights. And, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't me on stage doing it. I wouldn't just follow somebody and do that for a week straight. There's no fucking way. I was like, no, I'm good after the day 1 or 2, But yeah, it's definitely an impressive amount of stamina for anybody who can do it. Especially if you're, if you're going to the shows and you're not drinking, that's one thing. But I've not met anybody that comes to those shows and doesn't drink just as heavy as the band. Matter of fact, they're usually the ones bringing all the shots up to everybody. So if we're playing, and somebody brings a tray of shots up, we'll get our shots, but we won't take one until the person who brought a tray up there has one with us. And so that brings a lot of incentive for people to bring shots. They're like, oh, I get a free shot if I bring their shots up here. So,
There you go.
it works out. It's a lot of fun.
So you'll have a night 1. You'll have a bunch of people like, I'm doing all 7. I'm doing all 7.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
A lot of you will not be here.
Yeah, we see a straggler or 2 at night 3 and 4. But on top of just having to have a fucking steel gut to drink with us that hard for that many days, that's a lot of travel. We're going. We're starting, like I said, usually like in Kansas or Nebraska. And then we're hitting, Iowa, Wisconsin, Indianapolis, Ohio. This last year we did North and South Carolina and Missouri. I'm like, so that's a lot. If you're not making money doing that run, I can't imagine spending all that time all that money on fuel and drinks and food to just follow a band for a week. I was like, you kind of got to be independently wealthy to do that.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Or a little bit mad.
Yeah, a little bit out of your fucking mind, yeah. My kind of people, but yeah.
Yeah. That's who you wanted at a show like that.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if the fan, like, they made like their own coat of arms. They have like call signs and tattoos.
Yeah, we do have something we're doing this next year with tattoo the logo. We're going to have a tattoo artist go with us and do the Rebels Devils logo on people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. It's not going to be free, but it'll be very affordable because it's going to be a lot of fun. And that he gets to go along and he'll probably make more money than the band does, because he'll have a nice sterile environment to tattoo in, and he'll probably set up the green room and sterilize and do all that on most of these places. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So
it sounds it. That's that's an experience.
Yeah, it's the logo's not. It ain't no chump artwork. That's all Celtic knotwork. That's not an easy thing to draw 10 times a night. But he'll have stencils, I'm sure, different sizes where you can just do whatever. That'll be a lot of fun.
That's definitely cool. These it's the many faces and personalities of Casper McWade.
Yeah, there's enough of them, I'll tell you. Hell, I joked around about it enough to where I almost thought about doing it. It was like my son, my youngest, who's 19, about to be 20. He's really talented. None of us even knew he was talented. He never showed any interest in playing music. We come home one day and he's sitting at my great grandmother's old piano playing Fur Elise like it ain't anything. I'm like,
really?
Who fucking taught you that? YouTube. fuck me. Now he's a drummer in a metal band with my other son, Lucas. And, you know, it's super fucking cool. And I kind of forgot where I was going with that. But yeah. No, I know what's going on. Sorry about that. He was listening to rap, like Mac Miller and some other of those artists, and I was like, oh, I'll fucking do a rap song. And I'll bet you won't. I was like, I bet I will. And I kind of sat down and wrote down some lyrics that are pretty profound, if I do say so myself. I was kind of patting myself on the back. I was like, dude, you know, because it's all really fast. And I was like, I just started freestyling kind of, you know, which I wouldn't do in front of anyone, but, you know, because I can sit down and write and adjust and erase and whatnot, you know. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Maybe I'll do it one of these days just to throw a fucking stick in the spokes, you know.
Right.
And Casper McWade put out a rap song? What the fuck? Really? And it don't suck? Well, I ain't promising that. It'd probably suck. But it'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And with something like that, man, I would like put it on some piece of media, and if like put it in your handwriting on like a sticker on it, just lay it somewhere in the venue and see if it grows, like old word of mouth. You know,
Right.
That's not Casper McWade. No, I found this at a show. You know, and I wonder if that would create like an underground buzz, like the way how like we used to find out about stuff back in the day. Remember all the rumors of all that stuff? Like, how did that happen? And it's like, how did we lose that? Like, I miss that. Like talking to Ward Davis, I was like, I did not Google these stories because I love that old stuff. I love the tall tales, and I hate I'm like, why would you ruin that?
Right.
You know, I love the outlandish stuff. That'd be really interesting. Also, you know, that'd have to be like, kind of feel like a game master, like the third. You know, is that really you? No, that's him. And just the scene, the forums, and everything. That would be an interesting way to drop something that off the wall.
Yeah, because I couldn't imagine me going out and say, I just put out a rap song. You know, I probably would never do that. I'd probably just fucking, I mean, true to my name, I'd ghost drop that shit, you know.
Yeah.
But there it is. You know, see if you find it. If you find it, then cool, you know. But yeah, that'd be fucking awesome to just put that shit down.
Easter egg at the show. Yeah. You know, when people, you know, granted, you know, could go terrible. People pulling furniture up. Oh, it's not under that. Oops, is it behind this painting? Everybody put everything back.
It'd damn sure be interesting though.
Yeah. That'd be one way to do that. That's funny. But yeah, man, dude, we've been talking for like an hour and a half. Did we miss anything? Yeah.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah, I got to go pick the wife up from work before too. She's only 15 minutes away, so she'll be.
We hit all the marks, right?
I think so. Yeah,
dude. Thank God we got to talk.
Right.
I knew
more than 5 fucking minutes. Huh?
Yeah, dude. I'm really excited for the Curse of the Reaver, and also very excited to read more about Reavers and to zoom into the artwork and know like the stories and the details and whatnot. And I hope that people also like, because like when we hear music now, there's no deep dive
on an actual vinyl fucking sleeve, you know, with it being that big, and you won't have to zoom in so much. You'll see a lot
and hold it
and just have it in your hand, you know. And that's the only reason I'm doing vinyl. I'm doing 100 of the very fucking special ones. It's going to be called the Blood of My Heart package, and it's a clear vinyl with red splatter. It looks like blood.
Oh, nice.
And then, you know, because I mean, you got the fucking war scene right there on the cover. With, you know, that's why, you know, that's why I had him holding his heart out and says, you know, my rock and roll heart underneath Curse of the Reaver. And, you know, so anybody who's like, oh, this ain't country, it says on the fucking cover. It's not country. As a matter of fact, I've been very quick to tell people this is not a country record. You know, so if you do not like anything but country, don't buy this record. Or do, and then decide you like it. And that'd be even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait, man. Curse of the Reavers. It's been a labor of love for decades now, and I just can't wait to fucking get it out and finally have the right recording of these songs, the right representation, and just one more little piece of my heart that I throw out there. It's like every other album. Everything that I've done has been some piece of me that I'm sharing. So this is just an older piece that finally got polished.
Finally out there. And the first single this Friday, right?
First single this fucking Friday.
Hell yeah.
Explicit lyrics. First time.
Right? Yeah. Definitely true.
We could see if any of the radio stations I sent it to, see if they beep it, or if they just got balls this big and just let it play.
Yeah. Oops. Or, that might happen.
Or they'll change
yeah.
change the F-bomb to freaking or something. I'd be like, dude, don't do that. Don't gay up my song. I just pissed somebody off by saying it that way. I didn't know.
No, they're fine.
They'll get over it.
But yeah, man, dude, thank you for sitting down and talking and hanging out,
brother. Glad we finally were able to. It's been a year already, so without throwing any details out there, I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Yep. So all right, man. Well, thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Anytime, and I'll holler at you when I get the new country stuff recorded and throw it at you and see what you think.
Hell yeah, definitely. Thank you.
You bet, man. I'll see you out there.
See you, bud.